Welcome back to Truth Moment. I'm your host, Tiaera I'm laughing at your face. When something is submerged in the fire, then its shape can shift. Yeah, it can shift. Welcome back to Truth Moment. It's your girl, Tiaera. Guys, today's episode, I think is a really good episode. But I'm a little biased. I think every episode is a great episode and worthy of your listening ears or your viewing when we post it to YouTube. But in today's episode, it's entitled Time to Regroup. So, how many times have you gone through something in your life where you're like, this is just too much. I have way too much going on. I have to find a way to regroup, to get things back together because I'm just off. I'm off of my scale, or I'm off of my balance. And I don't feel that my aura is putting out anything positive anymore. So I have to find a way to get myself back together, to get life flowing back together. And when you actually go to define the word regroup, it is to cause or to reassemble into organized groups, typically after being attacked or defeated. Now, I find that interesting because for my listeners who even maybe not be Christian or spiritual or religious, but if you look at it from just the text, it says after being attacked or defeated. Well, when we're going through something, does it not feel like we're under attack? And just from a spiritual standpoint, does it not feel like you've just lost and you need to find another method, another route to kind of look at that thing to make sure that the next time you get the victory? So when that happens, it's just like it says, it's time to regroup. And regrouping also says that you have to reassemble into organized groups. So due to the definition, it means that somewhere along the way you were disorganized, and in order for you to not fail, to not lose, to not feel defeated again, you have to get reorganized. I use an analogy in sessions all the time. When you're in a place where, let's say, I know when I was growing up, my mom said, before you hang out with your friends, you better make sure that room is clean. And I was the only child, so I couldn't blame a younger sibling. I grew up the only child. I couldn't blame someone else for coming in my room and messing it up after I had already done it. So it fell squarely on me to make sure that my room was clean in order for me to be able to do whatever it was that I wanted to do. And in that case, it happened to be hanging out with my friends. So what would I do sometimes? I would get everything in my room that was either on the floor or on dressers, and I would stuff it into the closet. And I would hope that my mom wouldn't see it, because the closet door allowed me to close, allowed me to conceal what it was that was causing my room to be in disarray. So if you look at it from a metaphorical standpoint or from the analogy, what is it in your life that is just making a mess to where you feel like, oh my gosh, so that other people won't see this mess, I have to get rid of it. I have to hide it. And so we do our best to hide these things, whether it is in the way that we dress, the way that we carry ourselves, to not let people see what's going on. But just because things present well upon first glance doesn't mean that the issue isn't there. So it doesn't mean that my room was clean just because my mom couldn't see that the things weren't everywhere. She just wasn't able to see it upon first glance. It wouldn't have been until she went and looked for it or knew what to look for. Let's say my mom was looking for a pair of shoes and happened to open my closet door. And that would be when she would see things spill out. So again, of course, when I got home, I'd have to hear her mouth about it. But in that moment, I didn't care because I wanted to do just enough to make sure that I was able to do what it was that I wanted to do. And that's what we do when we don't regroup, when we haven't chosen to take what was bothering us and organize it. So what does that look like? So that looks much just like cleaning your room, going into a situation and reorganizing. So if there were clothes on my floor that I wanted to get out of the way, I would just throw them, in the closet so that my mom couldn't see them. What that meant that I needed to do was take those clothes, put them where they needed to be. So in the dirty clothes, or hang them back up, or fold them and put them in the drawers. Put my shoes away. See, what I'm saying is that everything has a place. So the depression that you've lived with for so long, you can't just throw it somewhere in hopes that it doesn't rear its ugly head at the most inopportune time. What that means is taking that issue and breaking that thing down. Or that anxiety that you've been living with. Or the feelings of abandonment that you've been living with. Taking those things and actually breaking them down and seeing how they affect your life and how they're stopping you from achieving what it is that you're trying to achieve. So basically regrouping to gather your things and gather yourself and say, okay, well, I can't keep, putting this facade on, putting this mask on and acting as though things aren't bothering me. I have to actually see it for what it is. So in tonight's episode, my guest, she is an author. She is well esteemed. She has written this book, and I'm going to give her an opportunity to talk about the book on the episode a little later. But I also want to give her an opportunity to tell why the book was written. So what was the purpose behind it? At what point in her life when she said, I need to regroup. I need to take a step back, see my life for where it is right now, see it for what it's worth right now, decide if I want to move forward and go forward, and in doing so, growing forward and change that about myself. And so I'm going to ask her again to tell us about the book. I'm going to ask her what inspired her and to tell her testimony too, because again, she has written this piece of work where she wanted for people to be able to see themselves in the book, so much like Truth Moments. I want you guys to be able to see yourself in the topics that we discussed and ask yourself if it's time to regroup, or if there are things in your life that you're not dealing with that you need to heal from, that you need to grow from in order for you to grow into who it is that you've purposed to be. I talked to my sister a good bit about, I noticed that I say often, this isn't a Christian show. I'm a Christian who has a show. So I'm a person of faith who has a show. But if you guys have been listening with us, you'll notice that a lot of my guests say they have backgrounds in faith, or they say it was their faith that pushed them past what it is that they've been dealing with. So then I asked Toya, I said, well, I don't think that's a coincidence that all of my guests so far have come on and at some point in a conversation they'll mention it was God, or I want to thank God. And I think the reason being is because God has purposed me in this lane to kind of help Christians break past stereotypes on what it's supposed to look like in order to be a man or woman of faith. Like, so you can go through these things and you can have mental health issues and you can still pray. So you could feel that you're at the lowest place and wondering where your help is going to come from, when it's going to come, and it's still come. And you can go talk to a therapist, and that doesn't diminish your faith. And that doesn't mean that you're a person that doesn't believe. It just means that, there are times in your life where it may need more than just scripture. And again, I welcome anyone who wants to combat that. Shonobe, that's my next guest. She is a woman of faith, and her faith has helped her through a lot of, things that she's gone through. But there are times where you have to realize that just like God placed doctors in our lives, He's placed therapists, and faith without works is dead. So you have to be able to do both, be able to ask God for the help that you need, and then also go and get the help that you need. There's a quote, Drake says, I'm the type that's, ask what I've been praying for, and the type to go get it. Like, yeah, that's what you have to do. You want healing, you want to be better, then you have to go and get it. You have to be able to go and get it. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce my next guest. Again, like I said, woman of faith. She has written a book, and I'm going to give you guys an opportunity to hear from her as far as what the book is about, the title of the book. But without further ado, I would like to introduce Miss Shonobe Morgan. Shonobe, welcome to Truth Moment.
Hello. Hello.
Welcome. How are you doing? How are you doing tonight?
I am doing great. How are you?
I'm well.
That's great.
I'm glad that you came on and joined us today. So, like I said before, you're an author, but that's just that's just scraping the surface of what it is that you do.
Yes,
and who you are. So tell my audience a little bit about yourself. Who are you?
So I am Miss Shonobe Morgan. I am a motivational speaker and author of I Am the Evidence. I love kids. I work with kids. So I just moved to Atlanta about 3 years ago.
Okay.
I attended Florida A&M University.
Okay.
My major was criminal justice and social work. So now in Atlanta, that's what I'm doing, working with kids. God has given me this platform to write a book and be able to just tell my story. So that's it.
Okay, so what's the name of your book again?
The name of my book is I Am the Evidence.
Okay, and what does that mean?
I Am the Evidence is saying that regardless of what you've ever been through, not to say it doesn't matter, but it served purpose.
Okay.
It served purpose. Whether that is pushing you into your purpose and your destiny in life, whether that is revealing some things about you, being able to heal certain wounds that was never addressed. You are the evidence. You were saved for a reason. And so that's what it's saying.
Okay, so when did I Am the Evidence come to you? Like, what was there a moment, an epiphany? When did it come to you?
I would say about 3 years ago when I moved here.
Okay.
I knew I had purpose. I just didn't know what it was. I used to write every day while in college, but I never knew it would change into a book.
Okay.
Never knew. I went through a lot of things in life, and to receive that epiphany that, hey, I want you to write a book. I prayed one night and asked God, like, allow me to be an answer for a problem, and that's what He did. This book came about. I was introduced to a publisher, and she's like, I'm going to bring your dream to pass. Like, I'm going to do it for you. And I'm like, wait, what?
That's awesome.
And she did it. So,
that's awesome. So, okay. So what type of book is it? Like, is it, just a bio? What is it?
It is a bio. I format it in a way that it's like a daily devotion.
Okay.
So my mornings are important to me. How your mornings start dictates your whole day. And so waking up in the morning, you need that motivation, and that's what it is. Every day I address certain things that happen in my life, but I format it in a quote, a motivational quote,
okay,
a personal experience, and a Bible verse. I also allow the reader to write about their experience with that same season, with that same event that happened in their life.
Awesome. So the book is out now.
Yes, ma'am.
And we'll give our listeners the opportunity of where they can find the book here soon. But I wanted to kind of touch on some of the things that you said that you had gone through to kind of get to that point. And you have a background in social work.
Yes.
So was it the things that you went through that caused you to say, okay, I want to help out, or I want to, become a part of this field? Was that what led you to it?
Like I said, at first I was blinded.
Mm-hmm.
So I talk about sometimes blinded with purpose. I had purpose. I just didn't know how that would form, how that flower would blossom. So working with kids, even in Tallahassee, when I lived in Tallahassee for 7 years, I noticed that a lot of kids were going through the same thing I was going through at 25 years old,
mm-hmm,
but they were like 12 and 10 years old. And so I think that's what kind of changed things. Working with kids, mentoring them, volunteering and saying, wow, I have to come up with something that's going to help them, and not realizing that it would help me as well, that it would heal me as well. Certain things that I've been through that I tried to self-heal,
mm-hmm,
just putting a bandage on and saying, okay, I'm okay.
right.
But when I wrote this book, I had to really strip myself up, take those bandages off of what I tried to, self-heal,
yeah,
and really address these things. Really address suicide, really address depression, really address growing up and my father not being in the household, playing a huge role. Mother teaching me how to live without a man, but never teaching me how to live with a man. Certain things in my life that happened that I didn't know how to get over. Well, this book provided healing for others, but it provided healing for me as well.
Okay, so you said that the suicide aspect.
Yes, ma'am.
So I just assumed that was probably one of the darkest times of your life.
Yes.
What led to you feeling that I need to do this? I don't want to be here anymore. That's it. What led you to that, and how did you get out of that?
So I would say, going into high school, I always had this habit, a bad habit of jumping in and out of relationships. Always. I never realized the consequences that came with it. I just knew that I always liked being in a relationship. Why? I don't know. Always liked being in a relationship, jumping, never establishing who I was,
right?
But just jumping to relationship. And when I got to college, I was drained. It was almost like somebody had pulled my strength. But what I never realized was it was just, I was giving up my strength. I was investing in other people.
Yeah.
I just wasn't investing in myself. And with a relationship, of course, you're investing to the 10th power. You can have friends, you can talk to them every night, but when you're in a relationship, it's different. And so over some time, I just gave up. I gave up. My security, feeling loved, everything was invested in whatever guy I was dating. So that was the consequences that came, like never being single, never becoming whole, never taking time to myself. And that's what came with it. Why? I don't know, but that's what came with it. And so every time I remember like it was yesterday, I would be in the kitchen cooking and just like, Shonobe, just give up. It's over. It is over. Like, why live to the next moment but not realizing that this will come? And so I really think it was just creating this habit, doing something over time, and not realizing the negative effect that it had on my life. But thank God it served purpose.
So when did you come to terms with the father issues and to where you said, okay, this is not going to make me? It did for so long, but I'm not going to allow it to continue to.
So, I grew up always wanting to match my parents back together.
Okay.
That was my vision. That wasn't theirs. And my father always played a great role in my life. He just was never in the house.
Okay.
So not being able to see that man opening the door for a woman, or just that aspect of my life wasn't there. I never seen my mother and father together. It was just always this mother. That's it. Cooking, buying the bacon and cooking it too, fixing the garden, changing the tire. I always just seen that. And so when I was able to break this cycle, it wasn't just about leaving my last relationship. It was breaking a cycle, breaking something that I created for what reason, I don't know. When I broke that cycle, God was able to mend relationships in my life.
Okay.
Me and my father was always close. We always talk every day, but it was a different relationship. It was different. He came around as an adult, coming to Atlanta, coming to a book signing, and coming to a speaking engagement. It was different. So that void that was there, it no longer had to be filled by a man acting like he was my father or just being there.
Right.
It was my father. Hey, nice to meet you. I am Shonobe. It was like a reintroduction of just a mother and a daughter and a father together. I always had a relationship, but it was just different when I moved that toxic cycle out of my life, if that makes sense.
Okay, so do you feel that the toxic cycle was created because of his absence from your household?
Maybe. I do think that. And like I say, we always had a great relationship.
Yeah.
But me not seeing him there every day, just spending like summers, and that's it. You coming back to your reality. Coming back to your reality. I think it probably did play a role.
In your opinion, what level of importance does a father have in a daughter's life?
Oh, it's important. It's important. Even now, I look at my kids working, not my personal kids, but they're like my kids, working with kids every day. And it's just, it plays a huge role. Fathers that's just there and teaching their daughter what it is to be respected. What it is for, like I said, a man to open the door for a woman. What it plays a huge role. My father was always there, but me not seeing him, it hurted me a lot. It hurt me a lot.
Where are you with your anxiety and depression current day?
Okay, so now it's a paradigm shift has happened.
Okay.
Huge paradigm shift. I realized moving here broke chains. If that makes sense, it broke chains. It was a huge shift.
Yeah.
It was a huge. It was like I wasn't even like it was a huge shift. It was being attached to something that was toxic. Me not knowing what was toxic. Having that father figure or certain things not in my life at all times. I was attached to something toxic. I allowed what was toxic to define what was love, to define what was loyalty, to define I allowed what was toxic in my life to define things in my life. And so now, regardless of how I feel, I don't allow it to become my identity. So though I may felt depressed, though I may felt suicide, though I may felt like I wanted to give up, I am not that person. Okay. When I introduce myself, it is not, I'm depressed, I am suicidal, I have anxiety, my father wasn't in the household. It is, I am this woman that has blossomed from a bud to a rose. That's what it is now. And so my perception just had to change. Me hanging out with the right people, me reading books, me, God giving me this platform, just being around different changed my perception. It changed everything for me. If I feel like, man, I feel down today, I get up, I work out, I pour into myself, I invest in myself, because I no longer allow how I feel to become my identity.
Okay. So in saying that, you feel that a person's, the way they feel is kind of just an instance, or it's a snapshot, if you will, of who they are. So you said that you've gone through the depression, you've gone through the anxiety, but you no longer identify with saying I have depression.
Right. I no longer identify myself as that, because I felt like when I picked it up, it was a season.
Okay.
It was a season. I went through those things. Yes, I felt those things. I felt them. Like when I just talked about suicide, it was a teary eye, because I remember the pain. But I remember the pain to help heal someone else. I remember the pain to tell my story. A woman that goes through things but her perception change is a powerful woman. And so I remember it to bring answers.
Okay.
I don't remember it to stay stuck. You have the choice, I talk about it all the time, to be a victim or to be victorious.
Right.
It's up to you. Now, whether you want to live the rest of your days, I'm 28. Whether you want to live the rest of your days under the bed, that's what I used to do. Every day I used to come home from college, from class in college. I used to literally hide under my desk, because I was in a dark place, not realizing that I just needed to listen. I needed to be obedient. I needed to cut out certain things in my life and it would break me of chains. My relationship with my mom was healed when I moved to Atlanta. It was healed, different. Everything changed. It was different. It was no longer this sense of hurt. It was no longer that. It was, this is my old girl. That's how we say in Florida. Like, this is my mother. I love her. And anything she needs, regardless of how she showed me love. Because hurt people hurt people.
Yep. Every day.
But heal people. Heal people. And so that's what it was when I was around my mom. Now it was, I love her. And whatever she needs, I'm here. Because when I came here, it was oh, she was hard on me. It was, you're crying? Get up, go to work. God has purpose for you. But when you're blinded with purpose, how do you see it?
Yeah.
How do you see it unless your perception has to change? Your perception has to change, regardless of generational curses, regardless of what you've been shown, what you've experienced, what you felt, regardless of who walked out of your life. None of that means anything. It means something, but only to push you into purpose.
Right.
And
so are you hard on your kids like your mom was with you? Because we can see that it birthed something in you.
Right.
It might have been difficult at that time, but I say I coached high school basketball for many years, and I would tell the players, the ones that I'm the hardest on, that's because I see the purpose in you. So I'm not going to let you not do what you're supposed to do. I'm not going to let you not be who you're supposed to be, because I see something in you greater than you see in yourself.
Right.
And so do you give that tough love to yours?
I do, but as I matriculate through life, I'm gonna say that I try to find balance.
Okay.
Because my mother grew up in a household. Her parents were married, 18 kids. 18.
Wow.
And so imagine the distribution of love.
Oh yeah.
Imagine the distribution of attention. It was a lack. And even though they may not admit it, their kids see it.
Yeah.
And so my mom was that mom. Mom, give me a hug. Girl, back up. Back up. Like, back up. And so that's what it was. And so, of course, now I appreciate it because it pushed me to where I am now. But sometimes I am a little hard on my kids. And I cry so much because I tell them, like, yo, I am you.
Yeah.
You are me. Keep going. It doesn't stop at 17, at 15. Oh my gosh, life haven't even started yet. And so some of my kids, even when I'm at the school I work, I can see a child in the hallway on the floor. I'll take my heels off. I'll get on the floor with that child. If I gotta cry with her, I'll cry with her. But I let her know she's the evidence. If I see her in the hallway, yo, get to class. Why are you even in the hallway? And I tell my kids, listen, if you want to give up on your life, if you don't want to be anything, if you want to be on the streets, let me know that. So that the 8 hours I spend with you, I'll cut it back. So you to realize that it's a world out there. And if you don't allow the adults around you to raise you, society will. The streets will. And so I am hard on them. But I do try to find that balance. I go off on them and then I try to tell a joke. So I try to find that balance, if that makes sense.
So with this, and I spoke with Pastor Rashad about it a couple of episodes ago, but with you serving this population and in this generation, it's interesting. I don't think it's a coincidence that your book is entitled "I Am the Evidence," because they want evidence. They're going to ask you questions, and it may be questions that we don't readily have the answers to, but they want evidence of, why should I believe what you say I should believe just because my mom and my grandma, they believed it? What is the evidence that there is purpose in believing this thing to happen when I've seen, my dad not be there, or I've seen a mom on drugs, or I've seen absenteeism from both parents, and I've seen people give up on me, so why should I believe that? So how do you find that balance and counteract that when you feel that you're going in because of something God purposed you to do, but you have kids going home to, and there's no Miss Shonobe at home?
Right.
So how do you find that balance?
My biggest thing at school, at work, is I try to make an impact. Every day I go in the building, I pray. God allow me to be an answer. I can't do everything because my teachers in high school look at me today and say, I would have never thought it. I would have never thought it. And so I try to, with my students, make such an impact that when they go home, they think about what I'm saying. And it's a chance that it don't happen, because life still have to happen.
Yeah.
You can't I can't post a video on Instagram. I can't tell my students something and they immediately change. No, life happens. Everybody have to go through the storm on their own. Yeah. However, I want to make an impact in this generation that when they go through it, they'll revert back to the source that saved me. Because I give this example a lot. If a fire catch right now, want to go out, you have investigators that come in and try to find the evidence. What survived the fire? They take that back downtown and try to figure out what happened. How did you survive? They keep you in a secure spot, and that's the same with me. But it's not just me, you're the evidence.
Yeah.
And so that's the thing. You go through it. However, I want to give you strategies on how to tackle those seasons of depression to prevent you going under that desk.
Yeah.
To prevent you carrying on these generational curses. Listen, regardless of what you've seen, you got purpose.
Yeah.
Not just going to work every day and that's it, your life is over. But it's purpose. I know people that go through things and never talk. Never tell their story. It's purpose in your story. It's healing in your story. People are being healed every time you talk about wounds. I got wounds on my body from when I was a little girl.
Yeah.
But for somebody to look at your body and say, hey, what happened?
Yeah.
That scar on your face, what happened?
Yeah.
But your body is like, your presence is like that. I am the evidence. What happened to you to make you the evidence? Why did God save you? He saved you to bring somebody else out. Not just to live your life and that's it, to be quiet. No, I talk. I want to tell my story. I want to tell people, yeah, I was suicidal. I have a master's degree. I was always this pretty girl, but none of that meant anything. I was still depressed. I was still suicidal. If I drive on the highway, I was that girl that wanted to jump out the car. But to still drive on those same highways and say, I remember. That's the evidence. And I can't save everybody. I have kids now. I'm so hard on. And they never listen. But I pray that one day it'll click. Just like my teachers. They thought I never listened. But I did. One day it served purpose. Those same teachers, I go back to my high school and tell them, I thank you. My mother being hard on me, I thank you. She probably thought that what she was saying didn't serve purpose. But now she can look at this very same child and say, hey, I'm proud of you. And if I never told you I love you, if I never told you I didn't do this, if I was hard on you, if I never hugged you and told you you was beautiful, I'm proud of you.
So what has been the most rewarding thing in your life right now?
I would say being able to make my relationship with my mom. That's like big. It's big because I was that baby child. I got the most whoopings. I got yelled at the most. I felt like it was always this, I wasn't going to make it that far. And it wasn't because my mother. I think I gave her that feeling, or my uncles that was hard on me that felt like I wasn't going to really be too much. It wasn't because of them. I gave them that because I was lost. So being able to just find myself and to become this new woman, to be on this celibacy journey, to tell my mom, yo, you were a role model to me. Maybe she didn't write a book. You know, she didn't do so many things, but she was the evidence. She didn't talk as much, but to be able to allow God to mend that relationship, it meant the most. That's like, awesome. Even though she's at my house every day talking me to death, that she lives in Atlanta. She moved here 4 years ago from Pompano, and so that means so much to me. Being able to walk away from a cycle and now being able to just be around my mom, be under her all day. And I'm just like, Mom, listen, when I get married, you got to go home. You got to go home. But just for that, I'll talk to my friends and I'll be like, listen, you and your mom relationship is so lit. And I'm like, if they only knew that we are the evidence that it was never this.
Yeah.
It was, all right, Mom will call you back, and never call back. But now where it's like, even though she's at church tonight, I know she's like, I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
That means everything to me. That just means something to me, where it's like, I'm proud of you. You serve, you doing your thing.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now you said, I'm not gonna let you just breeze past this one part, and you laughing because you know what I'm going back to.
Oh gosh.
So you said in your journey of celibacy.
Oh gosh.
Now, how long have you been on this journey, and how difficult? How difficult has it been?
It's been 13 months.
Okay.
And it's been hard. It's been hard because, as I mentioned, I've always been this person that's been in a relationship.
Yeah.
I never had to, and it's been hard, but it served purpose.
Okay. What is the
bigger purpose?
What's the purpose right now?
I'm able to be in a clear space.
Okay.
I am able to be the best person that I could be.
Mm-hmm.
If I want to be able to talk to students and talk to young girls, talk to women, talk to anybody, I have to be the best Shonobe I could possibly be. For me, celibacy helped me out. That might not be everybody's story, but for me, it cleared out a lot. I was carrying so much baggage.
Mm-hmm.
I was carrying baggage, but becoming celibate was the hardest decision ever. It was the hardest. Going into Walmart, I remember it like yesterday. I'm telling God, like, listen, no. It's not me. Like,
walking in the Walmart.
You got the wrong person. Maybe another Shonobe. I've never met a lot of people named Shonobe, but you got the wrong person. This is not my calling.
Mm-hmm.
But it was that one step that trickled everything else.
Out of your obedience.
That's it. And with obedience is better than sacrifice. With obedience, it helped so much other stuff. So many bags I was carrying.
Mm-hmm.
I was able to say, wait, I don't have to carry that. I don't have to carry that. I can remove these people out of my lives that's not serving purpose. I was just talking to guys and talking to people that just been in my life for a long time.
Yeah.
Just because I thought I needed them. That's it. But now I'm feeling like, wait, God, you done mended my relationship with my father too. He's like I say, it's weird because he's always been there, but he's really there now. Well, I don't need no. And any guy that come in my life now, if they don't align to my father, you serve no purpose. And so with celibacy, it allowed me to clear out clutter.
Okay.
It opened me up to so much more. So yeah, it's hard though. It's not easy.
That's real.
But with time, it get easier. With time, it breaks off habits. I've always been a girl, like if I go out with my friends, I might have a drink.
Mm-hmm.
But now, let's put that to the side.
Right.
So it just opened up a lot for me. It allows me to be this wholesome woman. It allowed me to be the best I could be. And it is a journey. It's not something that come overnight. It's not something that, oh, I'm celibate. No. And when I talk about it, I wear this ring every day to remind myself, yo, it ain't easy. But what you did it. You're doing it.
Yeah.
And to wait to marriage, that's a long time because you don't know if marriage is 7 years from now.
Yeah.
It could be tomorrow. Understanding that every guy you meet, that doesn't mean that that's your Boaz. That doesn't mean that this is the guy for you.
Yeah.
So it is so many layers to it. When I do start dating, meeting a guy that is celibate, or maybe he's not, becoming the strongest person that I could be. That say if I'm on 3, oh Jesus no. Say if I'm on 2 years and he may be on 4 months, are you that strong person that can bring him up? So
yeah.
It's a journey. It's not easy. I promise you that. It's not easy.
One thing I want to just mention is the fact that just in conversation, you don't seem like the type that is condemning. Because you have a lot of Christians who walk around very arrogant about, I'm doing this, I'm following the word, I'm staying away from the darkness, you can only hang with me or be around me if you are like me.
Right.
But I was having this conversation earlier, is that how can we go and change the darkness with our light if we don't first show up in the darkness?
Right.
Like, you can't only be surrounded by light.
Right.
You know, you just can't, because at that point you may say that, okay, I'm being good, I'm being celibate, I'm not allowing depression to, you know, take me back over or to come back around, I'm not allowing anxiousness to rule my life, but yet I'm not helping other people. So in order for you to help people, you have to go to where the hurt people are.
Right.
You know, and so I wanted, like I said, mention that you don't come off as condemning. So how is it that when you know a system works, like, you know, okay, I've done these things, I know my mornings are important, I know when I get up, you know, I should pray and I should read and I should get positive about my day in order to start my day.
Right.
So if you know these things and you're seeing the evidence, you're the evidence. But if other people aren't believing or they're not following the manuscript that you're setting forth, how do you not come across judgmental in order to pull them out?
I believe that everybody don't get to the finish line the same.
Okay.
Some people may crawl, some people may jog, some people may sprint, some people may stride. Everybody don't get there the same. And that's just life. Because guess what? If I met someone years ago, they would have counted me out.
That's true.
And I never forget that. I'm always in a humble place. I always ask God to just keep me in a humble place. Because life still happens. Mm-hmm. I don't care how much you think you are just this straight walking person. Life happens. Let me tell you something. The day that I released the cover of my book,
Mm-hmm.
and I rarely talk about this, a guy that I was going to marry, my high school sweetheart.
Wow.
I was going to marry him. Great guy. The day that I released the cover of my book, telling everybody that I came out with my book, I was so happy, and I started getting this feeling of I arrived. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
And the day I released it, that night, the next morning I got a call stating that he was dead. Day 2 talks about being a survivor, because I was at a point in time when I lost my mind. And so him dying was like, wait, what? What? And then 5 days later I got to speak at a church. Wait a minute, God. I didn't sign up for this. I never signed up for this. But you have to be in a place where you are always available. I listened to a sermon like 3 days after he died, and it said, it was entitled, "It Had to Happen." What? God, what are you talking about? But it kept me in a humble place. It kept me to never judge anybody. It kept me knowing that God saved me to help others. You serve no purpose if they're in a hospital. If everybody healed, there is no purpose of the hospital.
Yep.
There is no purpose. Nobody can't judge. You can't. Nobody can be in a place where you can judge anybody, and that is true. So many people just judge people. I think that you are better than thou, and that you've arrived. And I felt like that before, but guess what? God had to humble me. In that situation with my ex-boyfriend, humbled me, because I never got closure. I never knew why we broke up. It was just that we lost our minds. But one day, when we were about to drop out of college, my clothes from my dorm, as we were moving all our stuff, we don't want to be in college. We feel like college isn't far for us. We're gonna move on a farm. First off, we're from the city. I don't even know where that came from. And so that's what we were going to do. My clothes didn't fit. All my suitcase, my baggage could not fit in the truck. What? Blinded with purpose. I was lost then. I never knew why God made me the evidence from that situation long. Everybody had thought I lost my mind. And I did. When I went to his funeral, his uncle walked up to me and said, "I heard you wrote a book. Aren't you blessed that your clothes didn't fit that day?"
Wow.
What?
Wow.
So how can I judge? My scars, I still feel them. If you scratch a little bit,
Yeah.
blood will still come up. That's any wound on your body. And it's the same thing with this journey. It doesn't say that I'm holier than that. Guess what? I still got to wake up and pray. I still got to wake up and read. I still got to wake up and feed myself. Because if you don't feed the plant, it won't grow. If I don't become the best Shonobe I could be, I won't grow. To feed other people, to help other people, to be that vessel to other people. Mm-hmm. If you arrive, there's no purpose of you living. So I can't judge nobody. I'm still Shonobe.
How do you find the ability to make yourself relatable to young people?
Well, I work in a school.
Mm-hmm.
I just had a job that I recently left at the group home. I am still young. Even though I'm 28, I feel like the last 10, 15 years of my life were stripped away for purpose. But still, I feel like I wasn't living. Mm-hmm. And so now, even when I go to school, I don't wear heels every day. I'm going to come in there with Air Maxes. I'm going to come in there with Timbs. I'm going to come in there regular vibe because I want to know what's in it. I want to know, and not to be down, but if you don't serve purpose, if you can't find that balance, you serve no purpose. So my kids can be talking amongst each other. Guess what? I'm going to go sit right at the lunch table. I'm going to take off my blazer. Mm-hmm. I want to know what's going on. How am I going to be able to serve this generation if I don't stay relatable?
Absolutely. I say that all of the time because they're not talking to parents. You know, so you have to find a way. And I think that's where it's a very fine line that a lot of Christians are scared to walk. Like, oh no, I don't want to be too much like the world. Mm-hmm. So I have to be like this and be a certain way. And it's finding that balance to be able to say, no, I'm not straddling the line. I'm not lukewarm. Right. But how can I relate to them and show them the goodness of God if I'm not showing them the goodness of God? Yeah. And you know, he went everywhere. Jesus went everywhere. Right. And so finding that balance, I think that, you know, that's important that you do that. Yeah, because if you walked in there with your blazer all the time and, you know.
Who are you reaching? I have kids that's like, oh no, like you are not reaching anybody if you do not find that balance. If I went to the gym I go to the gym every day, but if you go to the gym every day and just do upper body, ew, what about your lower body? Mm-hmm. You're building on your you have to find that balance where everything is toned. Everything is being able to say, you know what? I want to know what's going on. Because guess what? I couldn't talk to my mom. I know my kid's not talking to their mom. And if they are, then you go into their mom being like their sister.
Yeah.
So it is that problem.
Yeah.
So I always want to be that person where they can talk to her. If you want to vent, talk. Because guess what? I can talk to you too. And guess what? When I talk, healing comes. When you take care of God's business, He take care of your business. And that's in any capacity, wherever I am. I don't care where I am. I walked in Walmart one day and bought a Bible, the children's Bible. And I'm like, what? I bought a devotion and it said a children's devotion. I'm like, what? I don't need it. This can't serve me. I'm grown. Guess what? I read it every day. I don't leave my house until I read that devotion every day. Because you have to serve purpose. You got to serve purpose. And it doesn't matter how much you thought you arrived, you haven't.
Okay, I got a question for you, Shonobe. I got a tough one for you.
Oh, Lord.
Okay, so do you feel that it's easier to talk of the evidence when you have come into a place where that's no longer your issue? Like, you know how you were saying that we have to tell our testimonies, we have to say, you know, what happened or what's going on in order to pull someone else out. But just like, you know how in some music, you'll have people say, oh, it's not about the money, but they're millionaires. So it's like, you can say it's not about the money because you have arrived or you're a millionaire, but then when you were, you know, selling drugs or had someone else selling drugs or there wasn't food in the fridge, you weren't saying it wasn't about the money. So do you feel that it's easier to say, you know, or be in this place when you've come from the depression, where you've got the formula to no longer deal with the anxiety? Mm-hmm. So how do you combat that when people say, well, it's easy for you to say,
because you don't deal with it no more.
Yeah,
like that.
Right.
Well, it's that balance. Regardless if I wrote this, I still go through things. I still cry. The hardest thing for me was, because I thought when I write a book, oh, I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
My mom was like, get ready. Life is about to start. I didn't know what that meant. Like, what? What are you talking about? I didn't know what that meant. Like, I didn't know what that meant.
Mm-hmm.
So just because I don't go through that anymore, still things going on that I'm still addressing. So for me, I said as well that it is not about the money. My first print off of my books, I printed off about 233 books. I gave about 100 of them for free. Because it's not about the money for me. I don't want to be the biggest. That's not my goal. That's not my goal. If I'm on TV or if I'm doing this, but there's still girls out there that's suffering, I didn't do my job. Girls that I'm supposed to help.
Yeah.
Because I can't save anybody.
Right.
But if I'm not walking in my purpose, or just using this to arrive, no. I served no purpose. I served no purpose. Like I say, just because I wrote a book, that doesn't mean life doesn't happen. It's still happening. Different things, because it's so many layers. I talked about this Tuesday night when I was at Bible study. I talk about pain in my book.
Mm-hmm.
And I talk about an incident I was involved in high school when I was beat unconscious by girls.
Wow.
About like 3 girls. I never got over it. I never got over it. So if somebody would try me in the street, or somebody would step on my toe,
It's a wrap. Shonobe said, don't let the cross fool you. She will get it popping if you cross her.
but you know why? Because I never really healed.
Yeah.
I would jump on you and I'm not getting off of you. I'm telling you I'm not. And it wasn't really because you stepped on my shoe. It was because I never healed.
Yeah.
And so with writing this book, it allowed me to heal from places that I didn't even think was still there. Address anger. Certain things, I only addressed 31 things in this book.
Right.
What about anger? Me wanting to strangle somebody for hurting me. And I never retaliated. Those girls walked around and nothing was ever addressed. Well, guess what? When I wrote my book, I went home. I went to Pompano Beach and I did a book signing. One of the girls that jumped me, I seen her. Well, guess what? You still hurt. All this energy
Right.
rushing through you. You ready? You don't know whether you want to pray. I jumped that balance. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to pray. I pounce on her.
Yeah.
I've been a correctional officer. I'm trained now. I'm ready to fight.
Yeah.
The right way. That I don't have to do too much and you're dead. But it's not about that. I seen this girl and she's on drugs so bad. So bad. So bad. And even though I was hurt, I realized within that moment that it was not about me anymore. That same girl, I called her to my car and I said, hey, do you read? And on the inside it's like, God, yo, did you tell me to do this? Why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? And she says, no, I don't read. Why? What's up? What you want? I remember you. And I'm like, oh, Jesus, she's pushing it. She's pushing it. She's pushing it. And I give her my book and I tell her to read it. Just read it. You don't have to pay me. I'm going to sign my name. Just read it. And I drove off. But I drove off feeling like I released something. Now that I can see people and I don't want to fight. I don't want to fight. I don't want to argue. I don't want to go back and forth. I don't want to. Because that day did something to me.
Yeah.
Even though my book was already released. But it's layers in our lives that provides healing for a reason. So that you can talk. These tears, they still come down.
Yeah.
They still come down because it's good to be authentic. Being the realest person that I can be. To show a person that, yo, you can come out of that thing. And whatever it is that you're suffering with or going through in your life, healing can come out of it. But you just got to open up. You got to talk. And that don't got to be to the person that was taking advantage of their whole life, receiving a sorry. Because forgiveness is for us. It's not for them.
Right.
Some people die and they die, and we still seeking for forgiveness.
Right.
Well, from who? The dead.
Yeah.
So it's for me. It's for me. That day when I seen that girl, it was for me. She probably threw the book away, but I received. It was like a release for me.
That's awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to say, I want to go back on something she said. She said that you know, it's not for the money. She's not, and you can tell she's so genuine. Our way of connecting, I mean, it's crazy because it was so genuine. She sent me a message, and I thought that I was reading like a bio on her page, and for her to reach out to me, I had to have her on the show, because a lot of times there is competition amongst black women instead of, you know, pulling each other up and sharing a platform. And so when she reached out to me, I immediately thought, if this is, you know, an opportunity to show that I can do that and I want to do that, I'm a part of that movement, absolutely I would want to, you know, have her on. But when she said it's not about the money, you can tell she's genuine and she means that. But I want to counteract that. I want this to be a New York Times bestseller, because you can see you put your heart in this and you put your soul in this, and I mean it's incredible to see, like, the energy, you know, in the room right now, and just in this conversation. You can see she didn't just write this book because she wanted something to do, you know, or an accolade to add to her name, but she believes it, you know, swears by it, and I do too. I think that, you know, you guys have to go out and get this book. Shonobe, tell them where they can get the book from. So ShonobeMorganMS.com, SHONOBE, and my mom was unique. And then ShonobeMorganMS.com. You can order it from Amazon, okay,
Kindle. So yeah, it is available.
And you speak too. Like, where can you have something coming up?
Yes, I have some stuff coming up. 2 book signings at the Nubian Bookstore in Morrow, Georgia.
Okay.
I'm serving as a vendor this weekend. A couple of vendor events, but for Unveiled Princesses for Morgan.
Yeah.
So I'm serving at that. I got an interview this weekend, author's interview. I got some stuff coming up.
You got some stuff coming up. Yeah.
Back home, I'm serving as a panelist at a huge event, so I'm excited.
Yeah.
Listen, when I tell you I'm so gassed up, I'm gassed up because I just want to talk and I want to tell people my story and just, you know, bring healing to a lot of hurt women.
Yeah.
Not even women that's just hurting, just wanting to talk and open up. So I'm working on this thing where I want to do like for the month of September, I want to meet up with women, all of the women in Atlanta, the surrounding areas, that come out, where I take out 4 topics out of my book, and we talk as a kickback.
Okay.
I just want to talk and just address certain things, provide the strategies that's in my book, and allow people to open up and talk about, you know, when they may have had to forgive a person or get over certain things or certain things that they may still be dealing with. Being in a dysfunctional relationship or being in something toxic and just afraid of leaving. Just a whole bunch of stuff. Okay. So I'm excited.
Yes.
I am.
Follow her on her social medias.
My Facebook and Instagram is Shonobe Morgan MS.
Okay.
So both is the same.
So be sure to follow her, and she will keep you updated with what she has going on. Check out the book. You will not be disappointed. Like I said, her energy, how much she loves it, the passion towards it. She believes in what she's doing, and I feel it. You know, this is what she's been purposed to do. So again, thank you guys so much tonight for joining us. I'm Tiaera Pritchett. This is Shonobe Morgan. That's our Truth Moment. What's yours?